Top 5 Great Horror Movies You've Never Heard of. Number 1. Kill List. Ben Wheatley is a decent name to recollect. This British chief has been liable for a few independent spine chillers that have shaken crowds. In 2012, Wheatley coordinated the Ghastliness parody Sightseers. After a year, he made his highest accomplishment with A Field in England, a film about rebel warriors and a chemist during the English Civil War. Before both of these movies, Wheatley made a practically amazing thriller called Kill List. A tribute to the country thrillers made in Britain during the mid-1970s, Kill List includes 2 hired gunmen, one Irish and one English, who are recruited by an anonymous customer to knock off a few individuals. Once the killings start, the assassin Jay, played by Neil Maskell, starts to see something unusual. Specifically, every one of the people in question, from a pedophile to a disarmingly well-disposed minister, welcome their executioners energetically just before their executions. They invite passing in light of the fact that, as the contract killers discover, rustic England is administered by a demise cult. Kill List couples the obscurity of the Wicker Man with all the drama of a bombed marriage. Number 2. The Blackcoat's Daughter. At the point when it was delivered in 2015, The Blackcoat's Daughter made little waves in North America. Except if you end up living in a major city, almost certainly, you missed its restricted run. The Blackcoat's Daughter is an upsetting independent blood and gore movie set during a cruel winter in upstate New York. During winter break, 2 young ladies, the senior Rose, played by Lucy Boynton, and the odd rookie's Kat, played by Kiernan Shipka, go through the end of the week alone in their quarters while they trust that their folks will show up. The active Rose despises the way that she's been allotted to look after Kat. Concerning Kat, she is somewhere down in evil possession. Told among flashbacks and a subsequent storyline set years after the fact, The Blackcoat's Daughter contains all the neurosis of a bolted room secret with the ceaseless pressure of a belonging film. Include the flavor of custom homicide, and you have a formula for an extraordinary blood and gore movie. Be admonished, this film is presently difficult to come by. Number 3. Prince of Darkness. Despite the fact that it was not John Carpenter's first film, 1978's Halloween solidified his place as a splendid repulsiveness chief. Later movies like 1980's The Fog, 1981's Escape from New York, and 1988's They Live just served to elevate inescapable appreciation for Carpenter's abilities as both a chief and musician. One Carpenter film that is reliably disregarded is 1987's Prince of Darkness. Delivered very nearly an entire decade before In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness is Carpenter's initial introduction to Lovecraftian horror. Set in Los Angeles, Prince of Darkness includes a group of specialists who are employed to contemplate an odd canister that had been insured for quite a long time by an antisocial Catholic request. For reasons unknown, the canister's substance hold the way to gathering the anti-god, an antiquated god loved on earth before the happening to the biblical Jehovah. This gets underway the end times, which could conceivably happen. Number 4. Torso. As of now referenced, the Giallo class is local to Italy. Giallo, which has its foundations in the MASH softcover industry before World War II, saw its peak during the 1970s. Most Giallo films are ignoble, shabby undertakings about desire killers in ski veils and dark gloves. Every Giallo film endeavors to show the obscene side of life, from modest community corruption in 1972's Don't Torture a Duckling to underage prostitution and illicit fetus removals in 1974's What Have They Done to Your Daughters? Middle, coordinated by Sergio Martino and delivered in 1973, follows this practice, despite the fact that it is significantly more believable. A part of this has to do with the way that the wrongdoings of Torso reflect the genuine killings of the contemporary monster of Florence. At a certain point, the film's executioner focuses on a couple having intercourse in a left vehicle. This is actually how the genuine killer worked. Additionally, the film's activity happens in Perugia, an Umbrian school town not a long way from Florence. For intrigued watchers, give close consideration to the splendid grouping, including a lady who attempts to liberate herself from a bolted room simply over the executioner. Number 5. The House of the Devil. Delivered in 2009, The House of the Devil tries to be a legacy thriller. Everything from its shading to the utilization of opening credits shouts 1980s. Notwithstanding, one shouldn't be tricked into feeling that Chief T. West's film is only a messy, John Carpenter-esque knockoff. The House of the Devil is a frightening gradual process that places accentuation on building fear and disconnection. Set on an abandoned school grounds in Connecticut, The House of the Devil follows Samantha, played by Jocelyn Donahue, an understudy who takes a house-sitting position to bring in cash to pay for a store on another apartment. Unfortunately for Samantha, her night in the confined house agrees with a lunar shroud. Concerning the mortgage holders, they're a long way from ordinary. A paean to the satanic frenzy of the 1980s. The House of the Devil successfully utilizes quiet to build dread.